Hello, this is Pie Boy, and welcome back to the track. This is race 12 of our season, and we are at Spa Francorchamp, or however you pronounce that. So I missed the last two races, so I'm currently 5th in the championship with Mega Man just 2 points ahead of me. So here's my qualifying lap. So it's important to get a good run through here. Just don't get any wheel spin.
You've just put in the fastest lap. Good job.
I was the first one on track, so that first lap wasn't good enough. So going up to Eau Rouge with these cars, you can easily take it flat out. Just make sure you don't overcorrect. Just small steering inputs will do you well. And coming up to here, I brake just after the 100-meter board, down into 4th, trying to take as much momentum through.
Fuel is marginal. We're close to using up the load. Pit in within 2 laps.
Down into 3rd gear and try a slingshot out. You have to slow down early there, then you can get some speed onto here. You have to let off the gas a little and then you can go full throttle. Try to get to 8th gear as soon as you can. Be patient through these corners.
There's only 1 lap of fuel remaining.
You want to get slow and fast out so that you can get a good run onto this straight. It's full throttle all the way. All the way to the bus stop chicane, where I brake just before the 100-meter board. Down to 2nd. Careful on the throttle, it's really easy to get wheel spin, and there's my lap. Brought me into 3rd place, Mega Man in 2nd. I have another Renault right behind me. 5 red lights, and here we go. So I got a decent start, but I got sandwiched by Iceman and Mega Man. Mega Man got pushed a little wide, so I maintained my 3rd position. Up through Eau Rouge. Mega Man's trying to come back at me. I'm up into Rich Mix, and with that and low downforce, I'm able to pull away. I braked a little too late there, but it was alright. Dark and Iceman are fighting ahead of me. I brake a little early just to make sure that I don't run into the back of them. Down, I've had a decent start. And then I go wide there and I have to really slow down. The green has much less grip, and if you put too much throttle on it, you'll spin out. So I had to back off, allowing Mega Man to get past me. And lock up, and MBR takes a peek at me, but I stay ahead. I haven't had a great first lap. Not the worst I've had, but you can see how far Mega Man is ahead of me now. I lost a lot of time. Now watch this. Iceman spun out, Mega Man crashed right into the side of him, gifting me 2nd place. So thank you, dear Renaults. Now 2nd with a good gap behind me. So let's see if I can do a little better this lap. You can see dark up the road. I'm usually not quick enough to match Dark's pace, so I don't expect to catch him at all. Got through there a little better. Went a bit wide there. So Iceman is still behind me trying to catch. But I increased my gap to him during this lap. I'm much more consistent. Now, I tend to have a hard time on the first lap when you go from your qualifying lap of no fuel to the first lap of the race with full fuel. You have to adjust your braking zones and can't quite carry as much momentum. Have to be a little bit more careful, but I adjust. So I overfueled my car so that I can go through that entire section and up through Eau Rouge and up the hill and Rich Mix, and then go into standard for the rest of the lap. So I jumped to lap 7. Iceman never caught me. I went into pit. I actually planned this to be my only stop, so he got my strategy wrong. Here comes Mega Man. We're side by side through Eau Rouge. Probably didn't give him as much room as I should have, and so he swerved out of the way just a little, but I had to lift in case he was still next to me. So that gave him a run on me up the hill, but he wasn't able to get me with me and Rich Mix. And I left it in Rich Mix, I forgot, because of this battle with Mega Man. So I'm going to have to save some fuel later in the race. So I'm able to pull away just a little through that corner. I do much better through Huan than before. There, I remembered that to go back into standard. I'm just going to go back into Rich Mix now to try to pull away from Mega Man. Now, he hasn't stopped yet, or he did stop, I think, that first lap when he ran into Iceman, and so he needs to stop again. So we're not really battling for position, but we're battling for our place on track. He gets next to me, but I get better run through the final corner. Had a little bit of wheel spin, but it wasn't too bad. I braked there at the line right before the 100-meter board. Control the traction well, and I'm able to go full throttle through Eau Rouge this time. I narrowly avoid a corner cutting penalty. He has DRS, so he's gaining on me, but not quite enough. So I was able to claim the corner. Still right on my tail, but through here he's going to suffer from dirty air. So it's going to be hard for him to stay right on my back. Yeah, I opened up a little gap there. Go a little deep, but I managed all right. Looked like my teammate just went into the pits again for a second time, and someone spun out. It might have been Lacadian. Someone tracked dirt onto the track. I've skipped a couple laps. This is when Mega Man and everyone else in front of me pits.
Yellow flag.
So I'm back into second. I was worried that like Tron and some others started on super softs. They qualified on super softs, so they might get ahead of me through the pit phases. But I stay in second. And then Iceman is still in third. So once we get up to the top of the hill, we'll see what the gap is. So I'm 14 seconds behind Dark. There, I'm not going to be catching him. And then I'm 8 seconds ahead of Iceman. So I have a good gap built. I just need to maintain it. Now, it started raining in the middle of the race. And it was questionable whether we should pit for intermediates or not. At this point, it's still better to be on the soft tires.
We're seeing cars struggle in these conditions. If we pit for inters now, we're going to be too slow and we'll burn them out. Make the best of it for the time being. Our gap to first place is 21.9 seconds.
So in the past 5 laps, I've maintained the gap to Iceman. But as the rain comes, you have to be more careful. I lifted through Eau Rouge to make sure that I didn't take too much curb and spin. But I missed my braking zone. I braked at my normal point instead of about 50 meters early because of the rain. So I lost a lot of time. So now let's see what the gap is. I'm starting to really struggle in this rain. I was trying to ask what the rain situation was like, but it brought up the menu about changing tires, which I still am not planning to do. Went too deep there again. Too late on the brakes. I need to be more careful. So now Iceman's only like 2.5 seconds behind me. So I just lost 6 seconds this lap.
We're no longer sure that these tyres are the right ones. It might be time to come in and change.
So I'm debating, do I come in for intermediates? But then I take a look at Dark and he stayed out, so I'll stay out too. And I thought I remember from the forecast that the sun was going to come back out towards the end of the race. So if I just get through here, then maybe I can hold on. Went too deep again, but not as badly as before. But Iceman is really chasing me down. Had to drop down a gear. So this time I'm going to brake closer to where the curb starts.
0.6 seconds.
That's much better. Trying to be careful on the throttle, not to get wheel spin. And now that Iceman's on my tail, I feel that I started to adjust better. I started driving better. Brake at the 50-meter board, go down into 6th. Wait until I feel comfortable before going full throttle again. Usually in the rain, if you're going full speed, you have to brake about 50 meters earlier than you usually would. If you're going about, if you're in around 5th gear or so, you need to brake about 25 meters earlier. And a lot of the corners you have to take a gear lower than you usually would. And that way you can adjust to the rain in almost any situation. You have to be much slower on both the brakes and the throttle. I brake here at the 150 meter board, so 50 meters early, and it seemed to be about perfect. A little slower through the gears in the rain, but I think I'm starting to do a better job. Feels like I'm drifting through that corner. And still Iceman is just right behind me, keeping me honest, just waiting for me to make another mistake. It looks like I'm getting through Eau Rouge better. I also have the rich mix. Not everyone over-fuels their car so they can use so much rich mix. And then I go back down to standard once I get up to the top of the hill and go through these corners.
We have 5 laps of fuel remaining.
A little drift there and lose some time. But I was able to keep a hold of it. I haven't spun. Once again, being careful through Pouan. It looks like I did it just right.
It looks like we'll be running on a dry track soon. Back to dry shortly.
That comment makes me feel good. I made the right strategy call, not going in for intermediates. Because I feel like this rain, the intermediates probably wouldn't be much faster. Maybe just a touch, but not enough to justify 2 pit stops. The only thing that would justify the 2 pit stops is if I crash or spin because of the rain and being on slicks. Iceman just lets me know he's there.
Okay, gap to leader, 30.3 seconds.
But I'm keeping him out of DRS range. I don't think DRS has been disabled. That's usually the point where I say, okay, I need to go in for intermediates now, is when DRS gets disabled. And I don't think it ever got disabled. So if he gets within 1 second, I think he'll have a run at me up the hill. But I'm just keeping him back. Didn't see him there. I'll go deep. Went deep again. So that allowed him to gain ground. Now he's right behind me. So I want to make sure to be careful, cover the inside, use as much track as I can. I have to start driving a little defensively. But once again, through that corner, I seem to break away from them. I think it's because I do a better job of starting slow and then accelerating through that corner. Really gives me some space.
There's 3 laps of fuel remaining.
You have to be careful through there not to push too hard or you'll go right into that wall, which you don't want to have happen. Here the rain is subsiding. So I didn't do so well judging when it started to rain, and I kept missing my braking zones. Now as the track dries up slowly,
We pretty much burned up our excess fuel. We'll be back on target soon.
am I going to get the braking zones better this time as they slowly lessen and go back to the normal position. So far I've done alright, but it's still pretty wet. I only had a slight lift there, not as much as before. I think Iceman has DRS, but I'm in rich mix. stay in 4th gear instead of going to 3rd, and it seemed like I braked too early that time. So that tells me the track is drying. I got that corner cut because of it, which I think I've had one corner cut earlier in this race, so I think that's my first corner cut. That's my first one. So I still have 2 more before I get a penalty. I don't drop into 6, just coast around that corner and get on the gas sooner. Still had to go down into 4th gear there, so it's not a completely dry track. Don't quite trust going full throttle through there, but was able to go through faster. Iceman's still behind me. We're fighting for the 2nd spot on the podium, so I'm skipping to the last lap. Iceman stayed about the same. Might have pulled a little bit more of a gap.
Final lap of the race.
So ahead, that's not dark, that's a driver that's been lapped. So hopefully he doesn't get in my way as I continue to battle with Iceman. Oh man, that was close. Don't want to lose it on the last lap. I don't want a penalty either. Don't get through there the best, but I managed. Looks like they're letting me through. Thank you. Oh, he's still on intermediates. That definitely was a bad strategy call on his part. Another track violation. If I do it again, I'll get a penalty. And Iceman's within 3 seconds, so I have to be really careful. I have enough rich mix, enough fuel left. I can go into rich mix for this last straight. Bus stop chicane, don't cut a corner. Be careful, don't spin out. Got a good run. I'll take that. That's my best finish. I feel like I've said that a lot this season, but the only way to get higher is to win.
Thank you. You almost cost me the win, Tron.
What do you mean? What happened?
You put that fast lap at the end, and I lost the car in one of the corners. Trying to beat that lap.
I thought you'd like it.
I tried, but couldn't make it.
So there I am in 2nd. Dark 1. Iceman took 3rd. It looked like both my teammate MBR and Mega Man did not finish this race, so we only get 3 points more than Renault. That's a little too bad. I was surprised Tron and Security weren't higher up, but I think they might have made wrong strategy calls or something happened. Here's the season so far. I've gotten points every race that I've started. Now the last 2 races I didn't start. This was my highest finish of 2nd place, and this gives me 120 points, takes me past Mega Man, who has 104 points, and that is my race. So I hope you enjoyed it. If so, leave a like, leave a comment, and I will see you next time back at the track. This is Pie Boy.